Hey guys, and welcome back to Figjam. Today we are going to be having a look at the long awaited and almost infamous Voopoo Drag 2. Now this did come out along with the Drag Mini, but I picked up the Drag 2 solely for the fact I love the Drag 1. I always, just from the day one, absolutely adored that mod until it kind of gave up the ghost for me. Not too sure exactly what happened to it. Went into standby mode and that was it. Never to be working again. But on this, so far so good. Pretty impressed. A lot more comfortable than the first one. Didn't really find an issue with the sharp edges as some people have said. This one, it's a lot more rounded, fits the hand a lot better. Does have a slight sort of bevel or belly there, if you will, on the sides, on the doors. Few issues, well, sort of issues, not massive ones, but some people have found some issues with the 510 placement, which we'll have a look at in the up and close. Me personally, it's not a big deal. I don't see what the big issue is, but yeah, I've got it filled up here with some Yucatan by Homeboys Drip City. Picked that up over at the expo at the Birmingham NEC just at the end of October there. Brilliant time. If you haven't been over to the expo, I honestly can't recommend it enough. If you're into your vaping, you're going to love it. But we'll have a toot on this and we'll throw it down to the up and close, go through the box, see what comes included, and we'll talk about those issues with the 510, and then we'll bring it back up. We'll have another vape on it. I'll give you my thoughts and my opinions, and we'll take it from there. How's that? Okay. Okay guys, so here we have the up and close of the Voopoo Drag 2. So just on the front of the box here, we can see obviously Voopoo Drag, Spark Your Life. Then we've got our nicotine warning as usual. On the side we've got all our social media platforms, with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, with their details below there. On the back we have the contents of the box. As you can see, if you'd like to read this in more detail, just hit the pause button there guys and have a look for yourselves. Another nicotine warning, and on the other side we've got your quick response code, we've got your verification just to make sure that the one that you have is legitimate, and we've also got the barcode here with the colour, which in this case is B Scarlet. A slight preview of the colour there, which doesn't really show much, but we'll certainly get a closer look at that once we open the box. Nothing really much to write home about here. Basically it's kind of like a leatherette kind of finish there. Nice Voopoo logo on it. On the back, yeah, nothing really much to write home about. So on the inside we are presented with a nice envelope. Just having a quick look inside, I'm kind of guessing it is all your warranties and instruction manuals. Yep, so we've got the instruction manual there for the UForce T2 tank. We've got manual instructions there for the drag, and of course your warranty card. Star of the show itself, so here we go. That is the Drag 2. It's everything that the Drag 1 should have been first time round. That's just my opinion. There are pros, there are cons, but we'll go through those as we go along here. So that is the Scarlet. It's strange in a way that it kind of looks a bit faded in parts, but after looking at it a lot closer, it's more of kind of like a mother of pearl kind of look to it, if that makes sense. You know, it does have the kind of metallic, kind of reflective, it's you'll know what I mean if you know what mother of pearl is. So we'll set that to the side and we'll have a look at the rest of the box. So here we have the UForce tank, which as you can see does have liquid in it, as I have been using it. We get a spare glass, we've got our USB cable for firmware upgrades, also charging, and also the spare coil. So It is a bit strange to see a coil in with a baggie of O-rings. Not unheard of, but it's just strange as it usually comes in its own sort of sealed pack. So this one, as I said, is the mesh coil, and this is the N3. So if you have a quick look, hopefully that focuses so you can see there, we've got 3 mesh coils on the inside. Now the one that does come installed is just a standard round wire coil, and I've got to be honest, I'm not a big fan. I was a bit underwhelmed with the flavour. I was a bit underwhelmed with the cloud production. It's not the worst coil I've used, but it's also not the best. But just taking a look at the tank here, really nice finish in my opinion. It's like a metallic gunmetal. It's like a gunmetal chrome kind of colour. With the drip tips, they are always going to match the colour of the mod that you have purchased, and it is just a standard 810 drip tip fitting there. So to fill the tank, we're pushing it back. You've got your fill port here, and the tank is going to hold 2 mils. Now, with other versions, it does come with a bubble glass, but unfortunately for us here in the European market, we are stuck with the 2 mils. But hey, we'll make the most of it. Really nice airflow at the bottom. We've got 1, 2, and 3 openings there. Nice and smooth, and it does lock off, so it doesn't just constantly spin round. Not overly stiff, but not overly loose, which is always a good thing in my opinion. Okay guys, so that's the new coil inserted there, and as you can see, it is the triple mesh. On the side there guys, we do have a minimum fill line, and if you're kind of wondering, is this wicking properly? Is there enough liquid in there? Really don't want to get a dry hit. This is a nice indication, just to let you know. Keep your liquid above there and everything's going to be fine. So what are we going to juice it up with? I'm going to juice it up with some Yucatan, and this is by Homeboy's Drip City. Now I picked this up over at the expo there in Birmingham at the end of last month. Really nice guy. First time I've ever seen it myself, and out of the, I think it was 4 flavours, maybe 5 flavours, this one really stood out to me. So I did purchase it, and it's different. It is different. It's very fruity, but there's something in there that I'm not 100% sure of. But we'll juice it up with this. Just for the first time, guys, when you're priming the coil, just make sure, with it being mesh, you just want to put a drop of juice in the middle. Not too much, just enough to help get that working started. And just a drop around the sides. Just kind of helps cut down on that break-in time. And I'm sure majority of us have all experienced a dry hit at one point. A dry hit from a mesh coil, in my opinion, is probably 10 times worse than getting a dry hit of a standard round wire build. Just fill this up, and we'll leave it to the side. We'll have a quick look at the mod itself, and we'll take this back up and we'll have a vape on it. The star of the show. Here we have the Voopoo Drag 2. Now, there are 2 versions that have come out. We've got the Voopoo Drag 2, which is the one I have here, and we also have the Voopoo Drag Mini. Honestly, I've had both in my hand. The only difference is obviously putting aside the fact that one takes external 18650s and the Mini has an internal battery. For being called a Mini, there's not that much difference in size. Slightly smaller in height. That's basically it. The 510 placement's the same, buttons are the same, menus exactly the same, different max wattages, but that's basically it. To me, the Mini should have come out shortly after the original drag, but it's come out now. We'll pop a few batteries in here and we'll have a quick look through the menu. Okay, so once you put the batteries in, this is what you're greeted with. So as you can see, the biggest upgrade here on the screens compared to the original is we've got dual battery indicators there. We've got your ohmage reading on the top, voltage in the middle, and your seconds vaped at the bottom, and obviously your wattage on the side there. So if we click 3 times, now this is an addition compared to the original drag menu. I've had a look through the menu for the mod itself, and I don't see any indication on what fit is. So you've got fit 1, 2 and 3. The only thing that I have found is when using 1, 2 or 3 in comparison to wattage mode, it seems that it's holding back a bit. Even if you're using the recommended wattage as stated on the coils, it does feel like it's kind of set in a way where you're less likely for it to burn out, as in getting a dry hit. But at the same time, with a mesh coil, and in this case a triple mesh coil, you're wanting that instant vapor, you're wanting the abundance of vapor and the abundance of flavour. So why restrict it? So me personally, I don't use any of the fit settings. So move back into wattage. Let's have a look. So to lock the device, we're going to press the up button and the fire button at the same time, and as you'll see there, it does come up lock. Now what this does is it stops you from turning the wattage up or down, and also firing the mod, which is always handy when you're putting it in your pocket. In my opinion, I think it's a bit more awkward to lock the device rather than just turn it off. 5 clicks turns it off, 5 clicks turns it on. Why fuss about and hold in 2 buttons just to lock the device? It's easier just to turn it off, in my opinion. So to unlock it, same thing again, up and the fire button. So if we press the down and fire button, it'll rotate the screen, as you can see, and also rotate it back. Now if we press both the up and the down button, it brings us in to a completely different menu here. So we've got the W for wattage, we've got your memory settings, 1 to 5, we've got your serial number, and we've got your version. So it's just showing you that it is the first one. So we'll pop it back into wattage mode there. We'll go 3 clicks, obviously that brings us into the fit. 3 clicks again, and we've got our temperature control settings. So we've got your stainless steel, your nichrome, your titanium, and it just round robins. So we'll go into stainless steel just to have a quick look. So as you can see, we've got our temperature here, centigrade, we've got our stainless steel, notification, we've got ohmage at the top, wattage in the middle, and your seconds vape. So it is quite similar to the wattage screen, just slightly different. Okay, to change the wattage itself while we're in temperature control, it's 4 clicks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll see the W flashing there. And as you can see, we're going to turn it down, and we're going to turn it back up to 80. To get back into wattage mode, 3 clicks, and we're back. So guys, that is pretty much it. There's not really that much difference compared to the original drag, except obviously the aesthetics of it. We have got a more of like a bevel or a belly, if you will, on the doors, which does make it a bit more comfortable to hold. But here is the biggest. It's not really a complaint on my behalf. Some people will find it as a complaint, some people have found it as a complaint. I don't see the big fuss with it. 2 issues with that 510. Okay, now compared to the first one, the 510 was right to the side, all the way to the side. And that's fair enough. That has been the standard sort of setup, standard design of your box mods. So this way they've kind of moved it more towards the middle, which is always a good thing, but it's not in the middle. Yeah, fair enough, you could look at it sort of from this side, but you know, if they've measured it from this edge to this edge, it's still not in the middle. That I don't get. You know, even if they had to put it to the center of sort of the belly of the mod, would have made more sense. So that's one issue. Why move it so close to the middle but not in the middle? Doesn't make sense. But here is the other issue, which I'm really hoping you can pick up here. They have raised the 510. So, as I said, it's not really a big complaint from me. Some people are going to find it as a complaint, and I'll show you why. So, when we take our tank and we screw it on, and it doesn't matter what tank you put on here, it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter at all. When it's screwed on and it's screwed down tight, we have a gap. Now, hopefully the camera's picking that up there. There is a very, very slight gap. Now, Voopoo's reasoning for this is it's to help prevent scraping of the mod. Which, okay, yeah, fair enough. I can see the appeal to that. Is it a high-end mod? Is it a very expensive mod? No. Is it one of those mods that you're gonna cry your eyes out if you scrape it? Not at all. So why lift it? Why lift the 510? But it's here. It's done. They've done it. It doesn't affect performance. The only thing that it affects is people's OCD. I just don't see the big problem with it. Yes, it is going to help prevent scrape the mod, but most of my devices, they all do have that sort of anti-rush, if you will, where the tank's been screwed down or a different tank's been screwed on. You just see the mark, maybe sometimes from over tightening it. Not a big issue. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to take it back up to the main camera. We'll have a vape on it. I'll give you my thoughts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not really much to it. So I will see you up top. So guys, that was the up and close of the Drag 2 by Voopoo. So as I mentioned in the up and close, the few kind of issues with the 510, they're silly things that could have been prevented. You know, with that 510 being raised, there's no reason whatsoever why that 510 couldn't have been sitting flush. The original was flush. So yeah, I don't understand their thinking behind it. I understand their reasoning with, their reasoning is they don't want to scratch the mod, which is fair enough. That's fine, but it's not a proper high-end mod that you're spending massive money on. The other issue with it not being centered, you can see it very, very clearly there. It is off to the one side. There may be some sort of reason behind it. Maybe the internals don't allow it to be completely centered, but hey, who knows. So as I said in the video, I did swap out the coil that does come fitted with it for the triple mesh. So with mesh coils that I've found in the past, they're very, very airy, where I expected the tank to be to have a lot more airflow than it actually has. But with the mesh coil in it now, it's quite a restricted vape, and not to the point where it's almost mouth to lung. You're still getting that direct to lung vape. The airflow's okay. It does kind of emphasize the flavour a bit, which is always good. Compared to the coil that does come fitted as standard, just a standard round wire, this is worlds apart. The flavour from this alone is absolutely fantastic. And when I do say that it is slightly restricted, you're still getting plenty of vapour production there. It's not as massive as some other mesh coils, but the flavour is probably one of the best that I've tried to date. The flavour is absolutely fantastic. So, pros and cons. After I'd done the up and close, I did notice another con, which a few other reviewers have pointed out as well, and that is the battery door. Now, with the original drag, the battery door did sit flush. It was like sort of inlaid along with the mod. You had a lip around the actual battery door. This door, however, overhangs the mod, if that makes sense. Hopefully you can pick it up there. You know, you can kind of just see where you grip on there, on the front and the other side also. Now, my issue with this, and I'm hoping the microphone can pick it up here, you can hear the door rattle. It's not a loose rattle. It's not going to annoy me in any way. Again, this is all subject to my own personal opinion. It's going to annoy some people, and that's with batteries, without batteries, using the ribbon inside and not using the ribbon inside, you're still going to get that rattle. The fit modes, I just don't get it. There is no real mention of what they exactly do in the manual. You know, why put them there if you're not going to explain it? Maybe, as I said, it could be to help prevent dry hits, could help prevent maybe running the coil too high. I don't know. You can't adjust the wattage when you're in those fit modes, so it's basically kind of, it's a restriction. You know, if you're wanting to use that is fine. That is 100% up to yourself. Me personally, I'll just keep it in the wattage mode. So 75 watts, and this is reading 0.2, which is bang on. So guys, the average price at the minute, you're talking around £65. And I think it's worth it. It's got that similar feel from the original drag. It feels like good quality, it's solid, bar that little rattle from the door. The tank, can't really complain with it, but one thing I will say about the tank, when you get it, take that original coil out and put that mesh coil straight in. You're not going to regret it. Instant fire, you're always going to get that instant fire with that gene chip, and that's what made Voopoo, in my opinion, that's what made them who they are, is that gene chip. It's not going to be the same as your DNA chips, obviously, but the instant fire, and that's not an exaggeration, as soon as you hit that button, it's firing. There's no delay, there's no ramp up to it with the DNAs. Personally, I've never delved into the settings of them. I just use them straight out of the box. You do get that kind of dip to start off with, and the ramp up with the DNAs. This, it's instant. Who doesn't want that? But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. There's nothing really much more I can say about it. I'm impressed. Out of 10, I would give this a solid, I'd say 8.5. That's for the combo itself. I don't see the big deal with the issues other people are having with the raised 510. It's nothing to write home about. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I would look over it if it was like a centimetre gap where it was really obvious, but unless you're looking for it, you're not going to see it, and that's being honest. But as I said, I'll leave the links below on where you can purchase this. I picked it up from Total Vapor as I work there, and as soon as these come in, I knew I had to have the red and black, as you can see from the t-shirt. It's just my go-to colours. If you have any questions regarding the mod or the tank, just drop them in a comment below, guys, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. So until next time, guys, I will speak to you again very, very soon.